Greetings everyone, Marquee TV, new episode, and I am thrilled to have my longtime friend, DJ Kearney, wine educator extraordinaire, wine taster extraordinaire. She goes around the world. You were just in Australia, right?
I was for many weeks, and we've got a wine in the pack, but yeah, I'm over the top everything.
Yes.
Just like you.
Yeah, well, DJ travels more than me, and she's a great educator, teaches WSET 1, WSET 2, W3, and 3. And so DJ approached us a little while ago and wanted to get her curated wine packs out. She's got a pretty good following. I jumped at the chance to work with DJ. So DJ, you picked some pretty cool wines. I've only had, I remember when Trian started years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with maybe 4 of them. A couple of them I haven't had. So let's quickly go over them and tell our audience about the curated wine packs, how it works, and about the wines.
Absolutely. So, John, thank you so much. We've been wanting to partner for a long, long time.
Yep.
And the time was ripe and right. So Discover with DJ, that's the name of this venture. And John and I think very much the same. Wine's greatest strength is diversity. There are almost 3 million cases of wine made around the wine world from thousands of different grapes in 70 different countries, yet people tend to drink the same thing. You know that, and
Yep.
you do a great job trying to open the doors to new regions and new grapes. And that's what I hope this pack is going to do. We've got 6 wines, and it's always going to be a mixed collection. And we have some whites, we have some reds, we'll have rosés and bubbles in the future. But the idea is discovery and also value, right? We, times are tight and tough, and we always want to be drinking sensibly and affordably.
And wisely. Discovery without, when you go to a liquor store, even my shop, you look at these, I don't know what they taste like. So if you have someone that's a professional that has the consumer's point of view in mind,
Exactly.
that they're going to be delighted with these wines, then it makes their job of buying wines a little bit easier. So let's go through them.
Absolutely, consumers are great tasters, and they know they know what's what. So the first one I chose is something juicy and crisp for winter. If you were in the Savoie in France, skiing, snowboarding, throwing snowballs, this is what you would have at the end of the day, après le ski. It has a fabulous grape called Jacquard. It's not grown in many other places around the world. It's dry, it's frisky, it's crunchy.
Frisky.
It's an electrifying acidity.
I'm an acid free. I love
me too.
Wines with acid.
Me too. And this is an acid bomb, but it has intensity and it's really thirst quenching. So just what you need when you've been working out a little bit. And it's from France, made from the Jacquard grape.
Cool. And they come with tasting notes, which are exquisitely written. I mean, I read these tasting notes and I'm going, oh, these are really good. So, great vocabulary.
I love to talk and I love to write, and you got to flex that vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the next white, let's pick up the Assyrtiko.
Okay.
So this is, when I tasted this wine, I went absolutely nuts. This is from Australia, but you will note that there's a Greek grape name on the bottle. And it's a wonderful story. So Jim Barry, very, very famous producer in the Clare Valley, sensational Riesling. He and his wife went to Santorini years and years and years ago and tasted the great Assyrtikos. No one knows them better than this guy. And he thought, man, this might do well in the Clare. And they took some cuttings back, planted them, and a decade later, bottled their very, very first Assyrtiko, the first time this grape was in Australia. And it's got much more weight than the little Vin de Savoie. It's bone dry. It's got really clenching acidity. Right? It's a brain rinser again, but it also has magnificent, lime and peach fruit. It's very smoky from the minerality that this grape is so good at conveying.
Great with food.
brilliant with food.
And just as a side note, when I was in Santorini in 2019, tasting at a winery, it's all volcanic soil.
Exactly.
So they've never had phylloxera. And they have, this one winery I went to, they have vines that are 200, I think it may be even more, 200 years old.
Right.
Unbelievable, and they're grown in little baskets. But anyway, I digress. Delicious. It's a great little wine. Kudos to Jim Barry for doing that.
No kidding. It's so surprising and it's so very Australian, right? We can do anything, and we will.
That's their attitude, right? You have to have it.
Yeah, and Peter Barry's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is a wine. So one of my goals in life, I don't know if you share this, John, is to help people fall in love with Chardonnay all over again. People have been a little tired, a little bored with it, sucked on too many 2x4s over the years from over-oaked Chardonnay. But I love this grape more than anything. I've chosen one from an amazing producer, Curated. Not so easy to say. This is a sobriety test, especially to spell it. But it's a wonderful producer. They make wines in the Jura, a very secretive region on the French Alp-Swiss border. And they also make wines in the Macon. So this is all Chardonnay, made with wild yeast and some old wood by a brilliant winemaker, Florent Rouve. And it's not oaky, it's just rich and shapely and very, very sensual.
When you have a great Chardonnay, it's thirst quenching, almost like Great Assertigo or Great Chablis, of course, which is Chardonnay. And they're kind of I want to say few and far between, but you've got to look for them. And when you do find one, people go, oh, this is what it's supposed to taste like.
Exactly. So, white Burgundy, that I think it's got the weight and the heft of something a little further north, from Viré-Classé in the Macon.
Yeah, Viré-Classé is a great, we bring in this one little producer, it's all biodynamic, Viré-Classé, sorry. Delicious stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And we want to hook people up with producers they've never heard of and regions that are up and coming.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to the reds. Thirst quenching is the theme here again with this little wine from Broached in the Loire Valley. So Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, those are the whites that are so famous in the Loire. But there's an awful lot of Cabernet Franc. This grape, needs a little heat to ripen, not as much as its offspring Cabernet Sauvignon, but there's an appellation called, unpronounceably, Saint-Nicolas de Bourgogne.
I call it Bourgogne.
Bourgogne.
Anyway.
We can anglicize it, no problem. And this is Cabernet Franc, light, leafy, juicy, proper, very correct, organic, which is always going to be the theme of my wines, at least sustainable and proper sustainable,
yep.
And then organic or biodynamic. So graphite, violets, black fruit, but just so pleasing. Vin de soif. Right?
I was just going to say Vin de soif.
Yeah, you're thirsty, you're having some gnarly saucisson sec, you pour a big, no stem, just a tumbler.
Slightly chilled.
A little bit of a chill, 20 degrees in the fridge, and one of the great little producers of Cabernet Franc in the Loire.
And it'll bring back those memories that you have if you travel to France or Europe of just sitting with friends, having a glass of wine. This is it. I'm looking forward to trying it.
This is fireside picnic wine. So blanket on the floor, baguette, pâté, cornichon, mustard.
And
little Edith Piaf.
Yeah, I was just going to say Edith Piaf in the background.
See, we share a brain.
Exactly.
All right, now you do know this producer, and this is one that I've loved for a long, long time. So Trien, and this is, I have to put my glasses on, like you, to read anything, Aurélien. And this is an amazing story. So imagine two of the greatest producers of Burgundy got together and said, we need a little project in the south of France. So we can make rosé, we can make some nice rustic country wine for ourselves. And Trienne was born.
Yep.
So Jacques Seyss of Domaine du Jacques and Aubert de Valaine of
Domaine Romani Conti.
Yes, got together, and this is their love child. I love the wines. This is a very typical blend of the South, some Grenache and Syrah. And don't expect polished, top shelf. This is real wine, and it says a lot about these two gents that they make this wine, and this is what they want to drink when they're not fussing over their very
expensive, fancy
Burgundy.
Wines. Yes, yeah. No, it's I remember this project's like 25 years old.
It is.
I remember when they first started tasting the wines, and really enjoyed them, and I'm glad they're in the market.
Yeah,
That's
I
very
know,
cool.
Me too. And their rosé is absolutely killer. If you haven't had it, it's absolutely worth a try. All organic, of course, and there's Cabernet Sauvignon shows up in this, and maybe it was their desire to just take a break from Pinot for a while and work with the other great red grape of France.
Well, if they had planted Pinot, they would be judged.
Yeah, exactly. So
with what they do in Burgundy.
Yeah, good point. So they had
So
to get
they had to
completely
deviate.
out of their
Absolutely.
playground.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Australia.
Yes.
And I spent the most amazing 3 weeks in August judging one of the most important wine shows in the world, the Royal Sydney.
Oh, that's huge.
Very huge. Old, an amazing experience, absolutely terrifying. John, you would not have survived.
It's how many, 2,000-3,000 wines?
Yeah, exactly. So it was capped this year, so just over 2,000. You would have been a shrinking violet. Just saying, tough as you are.
Yeah, those shows, even wine fairs, there's a certain point after like 3 or 4 or 5 hours, you just go, I need a beer, I need a burger, I'm out. And if you do it for 8-9 hours in a day.
Yeah, and you're the only international judge, and people are hanging on your every word and scrutinizing your every score.
It's hard work.
It was really hard work, but the chair of the show is one of the wine stars of Australia. She's a really feisty dame, and she is the winemaker at Waramate Estate in the Yarra Valley. Her name is Sarah Crow, and she makes the wines at Yarra Yering, which is a very famous estate.
I've been there.
And this is the little sibling, Waramate. So it is made with all of the care that she gives everything, which is why she was named Australia's greatest winemaker 2 vintages ago. And it's Cabernet grown in this, a valley that's so famous for Pinot and Chardonnay. But what's true is historically, they always planted Cabernets.
I think it makes better Cabernet.
Yeah, the Bordeaux grape. So we've got Cabernet Merlot, a little bit of Malbec in here as well. So it's dark and earthy. It's got fabulous acidity because Yarra is very close to the ocean, and it's just a great draw, a great deal, and a beautiful Australian wine.
Yeah, I love cool climate Australian wine. When we say cool climate, it still gets warm there. Don't kid yourself, but it still retains the acidity, and you go, this is what Cabernet should be from Australia. So there you have it. DJ's Curated 6-pack, and please call the store to join up. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Look forward to discovering with you.
Cheers.